Hello, it's Gemma here, and today I'm feeling called to make a video response to a video I watched last night by Jude Direct called Spirit of the Witch, and I'll link to that one below so that you know what I'm rambling on about in this video. But basically she just sort of brought up the question of whether we can, or more so whether we should, question another person and how they identify themselves and how they define their spirituality even when they don't actually practice all that actively. And how this came up was that Jude was watching a live Google Hangout on a collab channel, and somebody put forth the opinion that what they said was, I don't know how you can call yourself a pagan if you don't actually practice. And it was just this person's opinion, and they're entitled to it. And what Jude said was that she strongly disagrees with this, and she kind of says that you need to have that spirit of the witch and an understanding of what witchcraft is about and why we do what we do, because then if you're just doing and practicing all the time, then it can be kind of hollow and empty and meaningless. And I agree with that. I do think that there needs to be a balance, however, between having that knowledge and that background and actually practicing and following through and putting in a little bit of effort and having some diligence and discipline, because I do think that there is a little bit of that that's required of us in this path. And I think that we need to have this conversation because, as I'm sure you've noticed, there is a lot of this that goes on. There are a lot of people that call themselves pagans or witches, but they don't actually actively study or practice their craft, and or at least not very often. And there's also a lot of people who want to kind of stand in judgment and be elitist and you know, feel superior to these other people and point the finger and say you're not a real witch, and just kind of place themselves above these people who aren't practicing that actively. And I really feel that both of these things, neither of them serve our community. You know, I do think that we need to have this conversation, but we need to have it in a respectful way, without the trolling, without the trolling, without the bullying, without the name calling and the pointing of the fingers and, oh, you're not a real witch, because it's just really silly and hypocritical to say that someone else is not a real witch. I mean, I've talked about this on my channel before. It's a reclaimed term. We didn't make it up, and it was never meant as a compliment. It was never meant as a term of empowerment like how we use it today. So, and you know, you could say that witches are actually storybook characters invented to scare children. So if you're a real person, then you can't be a real witch unless you're an actual fictional person. So just my 2 cents on that whole debate. So I really don't think that that kind of trolling and bullying serves our community. But I also think that we need to support and encourage people to have a more diligent, regular practice, not necessarily a daily practice. I know that we're all busy, I get that. Even as a stay-at-home mum, I'm very busy, and you know, even unemployed people up to a point, they've got stuff that they have to do, and it's hard for everyone to find time for their spirituality, but it is important. You know, we talk about making offerings, we talk about sacrifices. Sometimes in our busy modern age, the best sacrifice and the best offering that you can make is a little bit of your time, you know. And I just feel that it's really important, not because we want to live up to other people's expectations. It's not about that. It's for us, you know. You need to empower yourself and get the most out of your practice for you, for your sacred self, to honor your sacred self. And yeah, I just think that we need to support and encourage other people in this way. And, you know, like for example, this is just an example. If you're talking to someone who says, oh, I've been Wiccan for 10 years, and they say, oh, but I'm not spiritual and I'm not a pagan, and you're kind of going, well, hang on, Wicca comes under that pagan umbrella. You know, you could either say, oh, you're full of crap, you're not studying enough, rah, 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 and kind of point the finger at them in that way. And I can understand that, because to me it's really disappointing when you get people who don't read and who don't study as well. However, you could have the conversation more along the lines of, you know, maybe you would want to read a book on this subject and perhaps suggest a book to them, and if you're able to, maybe lend them that book. So I just think that there's a way of doing this and questioning other people and how they define themselves and identify themselves in a way that's respectful and that actually serves our community. Because having strong witches and strong pagans and people who are really experienced and knowledgeable on their path, that benefits all of us. And I think that it's important for us to have this conversation, because otherwise you get people who are just kind of buying into the consumerism of witchcraft. And who does that serve? Does that serve our community? You know, that just serves big corporations. So I think that this is an important conversation for us to have, and it's too easy to say, you know, it's got nothing to do with you, it's none of your business, it's, you know, what people can call themselves whatever they want, anyone can call themselves a witch, and that's true. I agree with that for the most part. People have a right to call themselves a witch simply because they have the courage to claim that term. However, I do think that it's really important for us to talk about this and to encourage and support people to have a practice that sustains them and lights them up and, you know, gets them going and really fulfills them. And you talk to anyone that's got a really diligent regular practice, especially people who've got a diligent daily practice, and they'll tell you for free. They won't charge you for this information. You can't shut them up about how much it connects them to spirit, how good they feel doing it. And I'm not talking about necessarily doing a full circle and putting on your robes and getting out your athame. You can have a simple regular spiritual practice that you really connect deeply to, and that's more important in my opinion than having a really elaborate spiritual practice that you perhaps don't connect as deeply to. So those are just my thoughts. I hope that I've come across clearly in this video and gotten my ideas across, and that I'm not misunderstood, because I do have some strong feelings on this subject. And you know, I haven't always been the most active in my path either, and that's part of why I'm so passionate about this, about getting people involved and getting people more active on their path. So if you've watched to the end, then I thank you very much, and I hope that you've gotten something out of this video, and I hope that you have a good day, okay?